Honorable TANKO.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to draw the attention of the House to Article 111 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. There is a breach of Article 111 of the Constitution. 111 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. The Constitution, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, read 111.
And with your kind permission, Mr. Speaker.
Read 111.
Attendance in Parliament of Vice President and Ministers. The Vice President or a Minister or Deputy Minister who is not a Member of Parliament shall be entitled to participate in proceedings of Parliament and shall be accorded all privileges of a Member of Parliament except that he is not entitled to vote or to hold an office in Parliament. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker,
it's been voted for more than 4 times.
Mr. Speaker, the senior minister took part in voting.
Please, honorable members, let's hear him. I have not got
Mr.
the
Speaker,
point yet.
I am surprised that our senior colleague, the senior minister, consistently took part in voting.
Honorable member, do you have any evidence? Is there any evidence before the House that the Yes, Majority Leader, I wanted to get this clarified because it's just a statement he made, and I wanted him to produce some evidence to show that yes, Honorable TANKO, any evidence to that effect?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I know the senior minister is a respectable person, and I know very well that, Mr. Speaker, if the senior minister says no, I will provide evidence, or I will.
He's here. Let him deny him.
Honorable Osafo Mafu, Senior Minister, what do you say to this?
I don't remember voting. Mr. Speaker, I don't remember voting.
Now, whilst, yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the senior minister was a very good member of this House.
when he served as a member of this House. He knows the duties and responsibilities of members and ministers who are non-MPs. And I know that the minister will not infringe our rules. He will not infringe our rules. So, Mr. Speaker, so, and I believe if we should put our colleague to any asset test, he will not be able to prove. Now he wants to shift the burden of proof to the senior minister. He was the person alleging. Mr. Speaker, I don't want us to go on that path. Let's deal with matters of substance.
Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I don't assume that it will be true, but I assume that knowing where the Honorable Tanko is sitting, he probably just had some nostalgic imagination of Honorable Osafo Mafo in 2005, but he was monitoring the voice of Honorable Napo.
Honorable members, I take this to be on the lighter side. You have been sitting for the whole day. It's now after 9:15, and I think you just raised this to lighten up members. And so we shall proceed.
Honorable Ibrahim Tanko.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to contribute to the motion on the floor. Mr. Speaker, on my part, after going through the budget and making comparison with the 2017 budget, I will say that the finance minister is either economical with the truth or deliberately attempting to confuse the House and Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, let's look at page 101 of the 2018 budget submitted to this House by the Finance Minister. Mr. Speaker, we all are aware that if a project commences from zero or a certain percentage of work that is done on it to 100%, it means that the project is completed. But if you look at table 22 of the budget that the minister submitted to this House, the Kasua interchange, that it was taken from 58% to 100%. It means that the interchange is completed. We all understand that the project has been completed. If you go further down, 536, it is stated that the project has been proposed for continuation. What are we going to continue again? Once the project is completed, it is completed. That is why I am saying that either the minister is economical with the truth or he is attempting to confuse us. That is it. Because in the budget, we have projects that have been executed up to 97%. Those projects are not factored on projects that are proposed to be worked on in 2018. For instance, if you look at the same page 101, there is something there. Ayamfuri Asawinsu Road. It is stated in the budget that the project is being taken from 92% to 97%. It is left with only 3% for the project to be completed. Yet, the minister has not seen the need to include it among projects that they need to take care of or complete this year. You see, what we should understand is that Ghana belongs to all of us. All these roads that are being done, whether it is NDC that has commenced the projects, or MPP that has commenced the project, or NDC that has completed, or MPP that is coming to complete, the projects are going to be completed for all of us to drive through. But in the event that some of these projects are executed up to 97% complete, and then they are left uncompleted, it is going to affect the public purse. Because if it is not completed and it is deteriorated, they are going to use Government of Ghana's money. They are not going to use Honorable Tanko's money. They are not going to use Mr. Speaker's money. They are not going to use John Mahama's money. Neither are they going to use Nana Akufo-Addo's money. They are going to use the money of Government of Ghana to go and complete the project. Then if the project is at 97% complete, why don't we complete that project so that we will all benefit from, the project? Mr. Speaker, there is another listing on 443 that I will just want to highlight on. If you look at 443, table 443, trade and industry, it is, with your kind permission, Mr. Speaker, I will want to quote that, Mr. Speaker, under the government's industrial transformation agenda, the implementation of the One District, One Factory (IDIF) initiative commenced a program implementation framework which sets out the modalities of implementation of the program was developed. The ministry completed technical, financial, and commercial viability analysis of 462 proposals, out of which 191 covering 102 districts. Mr. Speaker, if 191 is covering 102 districts, we will all understand that this is no more one district, one factory, but one district, one factory, and some other districts, one district, more factories. But what happens is that if we go ahead to do, in starting, we go ahead to build more factories in some parts of the country, and some parts of the country are not considered, what will happen is that people, what we are running away from, the influx of people from the rural areas to the urban centers will, we'll see the worst of it. So I think it is only fair that we stick to the one district, one factory, so that all those districts that are in the rural areas will also benefit from it, so that we'll go a long way to solve the problems of the rural-urban migration. In any case, Mr. Speaker, why are you being so particular about setting up new factories when the existing factories, there are certain factories that were even set by His Excellency President Kufuor. Some factories were set by previous governments, successive governments, and they are collapsing. Why don't we make sure we revive them? That will cut costs. It will cut costs, and it will solve our unemployment problem. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Honorable Ibrahim TANKO.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to contribute to the motion made by the Honorable Member for Adenta, Honorable Wabin Asamoah. Mr. Speaker, I am happy that,
I'm given the opportunity, but I wish that the mover of the motion were here to listen to the contributions that will be made by honorable members. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, when the mover of the motion was making presentation, he indicated to this House that at least we should be bipartisan in our submission on the State of the Nation's address delivered to this House by His Excellency the President. However, Mr. Speaker, in his own submission, he was political. And in the submission of the President, His Excellency the President himself, the President was political. And I expected that he will have indicated or prompted His Excellency the President in his submission that there was the need for him to be bipartisan, and he did not do that. Mr. Speaker, if you look at page 20 of the State of the Nation's address, paragraph 3, His Excellency the President apologized for his inability to see to the passing into law the bill, the affirmative action bill. Mr. Speaker, on my part, I think that there's more that the President should have apologized to this House and to the people of this country for his inability to see through. For instance, Mr. Speaker, His Excellency in the 2017 State of the Nation's address, page 6, His Excellency the President said the process for a comprehensive, Mr. Speaker, national identification system and a property tiling system will be completed this year. Mr. Speaker, we are all aware that these things did not actually happen. And I thought that it would have been appropriate for His Excellency to have apologized for this. And also we are all aware that His Excellency spoke about the $1 million to each constituency. That did not actually happen. He also indicated that he was going to make it possible for each village to get a dam. That did not happen. He also indicated that he was going to make sure that each district had a factory. All these things did not happen. I think that these issues, the President should have considered rendering an apology to this House and the people of this country. Mr. Speaker, if you look at page 3 of the 2017 State of the Nation's address, and Mr. Speaker, with your kind permission, I would like to quote. If you look at page 3, paragraph 2, the President said that we have implemented the free senior high school education. Mr. Speaker, we all know very well that when they are talking about the free senior high school, it is not limited to first-year students. And for that matter, the writers of the President's speech should have been mindful of that. You cannot take off from Kumasi on your way to Accra, and then you get to Konongo. You call your people, you want to tell them about the journey. You tell them you are done with the journey. Mr. Speaker, if they are in the process of the implementation, we understand. But to tell us they have implemented the free senior high school, Mr. Speaker, I think that they have to look at that seriously. Because we know if they do,
the SHI, senior high school class 2, 3, they will not be paying their fees. Mr. Speaker, if you look further, page 7 of the 2017 budget, Mr. Speaker, a State of the Nation's address, 7 and 8, the President outlined certain measures that were supposed to have been implemented by the end of the 2017. And Mr. Speaker, these are things that we expected the President to have been dealing with. He should have come to this House to tell us that, these issues that we have outlined in the 2017 State of the Nation's address, we have been able to achieve this much. We have not been able to achieve this much for this reason and for that reason. However, Mr. Speaker, what we heard in this House was different. Mr. Speaker, I will say that the maker of the statement intended to implore on members to be bipartisan on deliberations. But what we have seen is that the deliberations in this House is shrouded with politics. And I think that it is time we are realistic in, dealing with issues. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I thank you very much.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the President said that he was apologizing to this House for not making it possible for the affirmative action bill to be passed into law, right? And what I am saying is that there were other issues that the President thought about, and there was the need for him to have equally apologized for not making those things possible. And one of such is making available $1 million to each constituency, as promised. And then one village, one dam, one district, one factory, and the national identification within that year. We all are aware it is only His Excellency the President who has an ID card, which we are all aware is not valid. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
IBRAHIM TANKO.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
He raised issue on only one, the senior high school. That's what he talked about. And he was referring to your submission on the senior high school.
Mr. Speaker, he mentioned that, the apology without any foundation, Mr. Speaker. And that was why I pointed out to him that there was a need for His Excellency to equally apologize for these issues, these things.
Well, you did not listen to him carefully. His submission is not what you are referring to. But you were coming, and honorable members, is for your guidance. When you rise up on an issue such as this, you are coming under Order 86.5. And that is why I permit you. And so please be attentive and then address the issue that has been raised. Yes, honorable member, you may continue.